So I was born and raised Catholic. I did attend Catholic services once in a while, but I didn't have a true relationship with God. My main focus starting at a young age was alcohol. Growing up in a rural area like I did, it was, socially accepted to start drinking at 13, 14 years old. And this went on all throughout high school into college. And throughout that entire time, I was, turning these, what I thought were just normal actions, that they were turning into real life addictions. So I thought what I was doing was fine. And then it wasn't. March 15th, 2008, I was involved in a fatal car accident. 4 individuals had lost their lives, and 4 individuals whom I all knew personally. It felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I was sentenced to 24 years in prison. I accept it like, I have done what I have done, and this is my sentence. My original out date was 10/10/2032. And if I have to do every day of that, then I have to do every day of that. I made a decision that night, and this is the consequence to it. Throughout my 15 years of being incarcerated, I was at 4 different facilities. Each facility kind of had its set of trials and tribulations. Living the Christian life within those walls was not the easiest thing. I would say it wasn't until the last stop before I was released, where I just felt like finally I could let my guard down a little bit and really, work on that relationship with the Lord. And to be honest, that last year, I just felt like I was on fire for the Lord. In September of 22, I found out through my lawyers that we were gonna move forward with my judicial release. They came and picked me up and brought me back to the county. I knew that eventually, if they pushed forward with my release, that I would be sitting down with my victims' families. And at a time where you think I would be, excited and ready to, start this next journey in my life, I was just filled with so much stress and anxiety over what that meeting would look like and how I would have, the strength to get through it. I think one of the biggest things that I wanted to express is that, there's no way I can change what has happened. There's no way I can undo it. There's no way I can, bring their sons back, but that moving forward, like, I would do everything in my power to bring some good to it. It was the first Sunday after they had brought me back from the prison. They came over the loudspeaker that if anybody wanted to go to Sunday service, that they had to line up at the door. And they brought us to this conference room, and sure enough, they turned on the screen and it was a church called Rock City. I honestly don't know if anything clicked right then. I did enjoy the music that they were singing. The following week, when the same announcement came over on Sunday morning, I decided, let me go back and give this a try again. And that particular Sunday, it was Pastor Kayam giving the message. And as I sat there and just listened to his message that morning, it truly was like, the Lord was just speaking directly to me and what I was going through and dealing with in that moment. It's almost like a sense of peace just came over me. You could just tell the way, he gave the message and he was speaking that, it was coming from his heart. And, that's something that I hadn't experienced for a long time. So when I was released, I moved to Columbus here with my sister and brother-in-law. But my sister shared with me that, hey, why don't you go check out Rock City? There's actually a campus right down in the short north. The streaming messages that I watched while in the county, although they were good, they were nothing compared to being at a real-life, in-person service. Once again, the worship music was just like, it was speaking to me as I was standing there. Like, I guess I felt at that point like, this is where I need to be. This is home. This is, and from that point forward, I've been attending in the short north. Someone encouraged me to join a small group. I'll be the first to admit I was kind of anxious. They broke us off in the end with like one other person, and we would share a little bit about ourselves. And I remember thinking like, wow, this is gonna be kind of awkward. But that particular night, I decided, well, if this is a small group and everybody's here to support one another, I'm gonna share my story. And I remember him saying like, thank you for sharing that. That is so powerful. And I'm so glad you're here. To hear that he was so supportive, this particular individual, it was, such a blessing from God. Through Rock City, I've been able to meet so many, remarkable people. I've had so many opportunities to be able to serve and give back. Each time I put my hand out for someone else, or each time I go down and serve and volunteer at the Dream Center, like, maybe that'll be the moment that clicks in that person's head that I'm reaching, that, their life can be different, or maybe I can be the push that they need to, get through whatever it is they're dealing with. And for me, that gives me peace. One word comes to mind when I think about, just being totally forgiven, and it's just being overwhelmed. Like to think that, that I made this choice in my life and I've affected, not only 4 families forever, but hundreds of people. Had it not been for God's grace and him just being a constant force in my life, I don't believe I would have ever got to this point. To think that because of my faith and because, Jesus died on the cross for my sins, that I'm completely forgiven for that is just overwhelming.